Your walls, floors, ceiling, doors, windows, and roof planes will all want to be in place in your building model before you start the framing. You have 3 framing parent tools in your toolbar. You have your general framing tools, your floor framing tools, and your roof framing tools. We'll start here with general framing and click on the Build Framing tool. In the Build Framing tool, each of these panels coincides with different areas of your building: your foundation, first floor, walls, roofs, etc. We'll start here on the foundation and click on Build Floor Framing. This floor framing will provide the framing for the first floor subfloor. You'll notice here that the Build Ceiling Framing is grayed out. That's because there is no ceiling on the foundation level. The Build Framing dialog does 3 things. It sets up the defaults for how the framing will be built. It also builds the framing. The third thing is that you can set it to automatically build the framing whenever you make a change to your model. We're going to leave this unchecked for now. Then we'll go to the first floor panel. Under the first floor panel, we'll build the ceiling framing. You'll notice here that the floor framing is grayed out. That's because this would build framing for a second floor level, but we don't have a second floor level. Then we'll go to the wall framing. Under the wall framing panel, you can set the stud thickness and stud spacing, or you can use the wall framing material. Wall framing material is covered in a different video. We're going to accept this default and build the wall framing. You can also set the defaults for the openings, beams, and posts. We'll go next to the roof framing panel and we'll build the roof framing. Here we'll change the spacing of the rafters to 16 inches on center. When I'm ready to build, I'll simply click OK. We'll take a look at this with a perspective framing overview. After the framing is built, you can manually edit any of the framing pieces. You can select it and edit it with the edit tools in the toolbar below. These are covered in another video. You can resize it, rotate it, extend it, or delete it. A good way to create framing is to generate the framing automatically and then make changes as necessary and then regenerate it. For instance, you'll notice here on the foundation level, my first floor framing goes all the way through the building. This will need some support through the middle of the building. I'll go to my Edit drop-down menu, Delete Objects, and all rooms on this floor. I'll delete the floor and ceiling framing. Click on Delete. Now I'll place a couple of support beams. I'll go to my Floor Framing Tools, select the floor and ceiling beam, and place a couple of support beams here. Then I'll move them into place. And then rebuild my floor framing. When I take a perspective floor overview, you can now see that I have support beams below and my floor joists lap over the top of each one of these beams. Once you've placed beams, Chief will automatically recognize that there is a beam there and use it as support. Remember that if you haven't checked the automatic build framing boxes, whenever you make a change to your 3D model, for instance, we'll move this window, you'll notice that the framing does not regenerate. You'll always want to make sure to have a licensed engineer or architect check your plan. Chief Architect does not calculate loads or structural requirements. More information about manual framing and framing defaults can be found in other videos and your reference manual.